The universe has always whispered its secrets through the silent language of light, but now it may be screaming. On a quiet morning at the James Webb Space Telescope's mission control, data began to stream in, strange, unexplained, and unlike anything scientists had ever recorded. At first, it seemed like an anomaly, perhaps an error in calibration. But as more readings poured in, a pattern began to emerge. There was something, an object, moving through the darkness of deep space.
And it was coming closer.
What was this enigmatic traveler?
A rogue asteroid? A shattered piece of a long-dead planet?
Or could it be something far more extraordinary? Something not made by nature but by intelligence? At a staggering distance beyond Pluto in the frigid outer reaches of the Kuiper Belt, this object made its first appearance. Invisible to traditional telescopes, its presence was betrayed only by the faintest trace of infrared heat. James Webb, with its unmatched sensitivity to thermal signatures, was the first to notice. The object appeared to be moving, not drifting aimlessly like comets or asteroids, but on a trajectory that was precise
and accelerating.
It wasn't the speed that alarmed scientists, it was the control. Initial calculations showed the object to be roughly 300 meters long, far too large to go unnoticed under normal conditions, yet it emitted no visible light, no natural reflectivity, and no detectable chemical composition similar to known space rocks. Its shape was irregular but symmetrical. There were angles where there shouldn't be angles, surfaces too smooth, too geometrically perfect to be natural. It bore no resemblance to any known comet, asteroid, or space debris. And then, something else happened. Over the course of several weeks, scientists noticed that the object, S movement, didn't follow the expected path governed by gravitational forces alone. It appeared to be correcting itself, changing its orientation, as if responding to unseen forces. It was as though the object was navigating. This was not the first time astronomers had encountered something puzzling. In 2017, the interstellar object Oumuamua passed through our solar system. It too was elongated and behaved in ways that challenged existing models. But this new object was different. It wasn't passing through. It was approaching, and it wasn't slowing down. As its path drew it closer to the orbit of Neptune, the James Webb Telescope shifted more of its observation schedule toward the object. What it captured next only deepened the mystery. The object's surface emitted occasional, controlled bursts of infrared light, brief, rhythmic pulses in mathematical patterns, prime numbers, the Fibonacci sequence, binary code. It was as though the object was communicating or broadcasting, but to whom? Earth-based radio telescopes scrambled to confirm the signals. The Arecibo Observatory, though decommissioned, inspired a new round of efforts using newer instruments like FAST in China and the Very Large Array in New Mexico. The same patterns were detected across multiple platforms. This wasn't a glitch, it was real, and it was deliberate. Governments around the world were immediately alerted. NASA, ESA, and private observatories began collaborating in an unprecedented show of urgency. But as the scientific community scrambled for answers, intelligence agencies began asking a different question. What if it's not just an object?
What if it's a probe?
And if it's a probe, who sent it?
Speculation ran wild.
Some proposed it could be an ancient alien artifact, finally reaching us after millions of years of interstellar travel. Others believed it might be an autonomous AI scout sent by a civilization so advanced it no longer needed biological life to explore the stars. The implications were staggering. If the object was alien in origin, it meant we were not alone, but more than that, it meant that someone or something knew we were here. Panic was carefully avoided. The public was told very little, only that an unusual celestial object was being monitored. But behind closed doors, scenarios were being drawn up. What if the object enters orbit? What if it attempts contact? What if it doesn't? Some suggested preparing a response, a signal, a message, a declaration of peaceful intent. But others warned that responding might not be wise. What if we're being watched? What if this is the equivalent of a cosmic camera, silently recording us? Weeks turned into months. The object continued its path, now clearly within the solar system.
Unlike comets, it shed no dust, no gas.
Its temperature remained remarkably stable. Despite entering warmer regions of space, it behaved like a machine.
And then the unthinkable happened.
The object stopped. At the outer edge of Saturn's orbit, it came to a halt, its momentum gradually ceasing over the span of 48 hours. No known natural object can do this, not unless it was being acted upon by external forces or guiding itself with internal propulsion. Spectroscopic analysis showed subtle chemical changes in the space surrounding the object. Ionized particles, possibly the result of some form of propulsion technology unknown to us. It hovered there, silent, unmoving, watching. Then it changed shape. At first, scientists thought it might be a trick of perspective, but high-resolution images from Webb confirmed it. The object had undergone a physical transformation. Panels extended from its sides. A central section opened like a flower. Some likened it to solar sails. Others thought it looked like a receiving dish.
As it turned, slowly, precisely, it faced Earth. This was no longer a theory, this was no longer speculation. Something had arrived.
And it was aware of us. Across the globe, discussions turned from observation to action. Should humanity respond? Could we even understand what it wanted? Some advocated sending a return signal using the same binary language. Others suggested we wait, observe, prepare. But time was running out. On the 72nd day, after the object entered the solar system, the pulses began again. This time they were longer, repeating in intervals consistent with Morse code. Translated into English, the message was chillingly simple. We are observing. Prepare. Prepare. For what? Was it a warning?
An invitation? A threat?
The world held its breath. Religious leaders called for calm. Conspiracy theorists shouted from the shadows of the internet. Scientists wrestled with implications that stretched the bounds of philosophy, ethics, and cosmology. The object remained silent after the transmission, completely inert, as if waiting for our next move. Satellites were redirected, telescopes turned, even military assets repositioned in orbit, all focused on this single enigma now floating between Saturn and Jupiter.
Could this be first contact or a test?
Theorists proposed dozens of possibilities. Perhaps it was a seed probe, meant to analyze and report back to its creators. Or maybe it was a warning buoy, sent to contain civilizations that evolved too quickly, too violently, a kind of cosmic leash. More hopeful minds believed it could be an opportunity, our first step into a galactic community. But even they admitted its silence was unnerving. NASA authorized the launch of a high-speed reconnaissance drone designed to approach and observe the object directly. Launched from the Lunar Gateway Station, the drone took 4 days to reach the object's position. And then, without warning, it vanished. One moment, live telemetry was streaming back to mission control. The next, complete blackout. No explosion, no debris, just silence.
As if the object had erased it. No one knew what to make of this. Had the object perceived the drone as hostile?
Had it acted in defense, or had it simply absorbed it, like a superior intelligence retrieving an insect? Whatever the case, one thing was clear. Humanity was no longer the only actor in this cosmic play. The object remained motionless, observing, waiting. For weeks, the world did the same. And then came the final transmission. On the 103rd day, just before sunrise over the Pacific Ocean, the object pulsed again. But this time, it wasn't binary. It wasn't Morse. It was music. an intricate series of tones, harmonics and frequencies, rising and falling in beautiful, haunting patterns. It echoed through space, recorded by every instrument we had. And in those sounds, some claimed they heard voices, languages from across the earth, interwoven in an impossible tapestry of sound. Then, as suddenly as it had come, the object retracted its panels, pivoted slightly, and accelerated away. Faster than anything we could track. Within hours, it was gone. Past Saturn, past Neptune, back into the void. It had come, it had watched, it had spoken,
and it had left.
The world was left changed not by invasion or destruction, but by a simple, undeniable truth. We were not alone, and now we were noticed. Some scientists believe it will return. Others think it was a scout, and that more will follow. For now, the stars remain quiet. But somewhere out there, something is watching,
listening, waiting.
The universe has always whispered its secrets. Now, for the first time, it has spoken directly. The only question that remains is, will we be ready when it speaks again?